Hello everyone and welcome back. So today we are going to discuss about filters and controls within stories in SAP Analytics Cloud. So starting with the definition, so they are basically used to restrict the data displayed in story, page, or widget based on the selected criteria. So you can use any of the dimensions like time or date or region, company code, department, anything which is your dimension. You can use it to restrict the data, and you can do this restriction at different levels. That is at page, story, and widget. They help users focus on a relevant data without changing the underlying data set. That means the dashboard will be displayed with maybe some default filters, but it will also allow business users to put specific restriction because they want to understand what sort of insight they are getting when they are checking data for a particular company code, or how that particular company code is performing, or how particular department is performing. So accordingly, or over the period of the time, how the data or how the performance is there, or how the sales or any values based on the report type. So they can just use this filters or restrictions to get the data, the relevant data that they want to use for the analysis. Coming to the types of the filters, there are three types of filters: story level filter, page level filter, and widget level filter. So a story level filter is basically when you want a particular dimension filter to be applied across the pages. That means all the pages of the story. Then you will choose it as a story level filter. What sort of dimension you can use as a story level filter? Any dimension technically, but as a better design, you'll go with those dimensions which is really needed, giving a broader context about that story. For example, if it's a monthly story, then year and month you can put as a story level filter, so that user will select a particular year and month, and the entire story is about that particular year and month. Similarly, you can put some other very important fields. If company code is there, department is there, sometimes GL account as well, cost center, profit center. So these are very high level data, or important fields on which a filter can be put at the story level. It is not like any hard rule, but in most of the cases it will be. But it is just an example. So there is a wide range of stories and wide range of filters applicable. Just you need to think that this sort of filter user is going to use so that they can access or analyze the data throughout this story for this particular field, or for this particular selected data. Okay, so then you will put it at story level. Whenever there is a requirement, like within the story, when you are building a story, it will have multiple pages starting with the overview, summary, and then you have a specific context related pages. So within the page also, sometimes you need a specific filter, and you want to put this filter, and and this filter is only relevant to this page. I don't want to apply this filter to other pages. So those type of filters you will put at the page level. So these are called as page level filters. So if a particular story page is giving a particular insight, and within that insight there are certain dimensions which you want to put a filter and see, like how this. So for example, if within your dashboard there is one sales related page, and within that sales related page you have put overseas versus local. So how your sales is doing when you compare to the locals with the overseas. So these kind of filters, and this is applicable to your sales page. So you will not put at the story level, you will put it at the specific page level. So this is one example. Similarly, coming to the widget level filter. So widget level filter you can apply to individual chart or table within a page. So within your page you will have multiple widgets, but many of the times you need a particular filter or control which is linked to only one widget. For example, you have one widget, and you want to allow users to select the filter, and only this widget should change and not the others. So it is, from design perspective also, it is very important that you design or place your filters accordingly, that it should look like that, yeah, these two are together, that filter and the widget. And page level filter at somewhere either at the left or the right or the top, so that it says that these filters will be applied to the entire page. Story level, by default, either it will be at the top or the left side. So widget level filter is very important, because whenever you design a widget level filter, you use some border or something just to give some sense to the business user that these are linked together, that whenever you put a filter, it will only apply to these widgets, one widget, two widget, based on your requirement, not on the entire page. Coming to the functions, those are available when you will be applying a filter. So when you will use any text related dimension, you will get an option as a either select member or condition. Member is something like, if your field has 100 values, so 100 values will appear. Out of those 100 values, either you select all and then allow users to modify it at the view mode, Or you can also like restrict it, only allow out of 100 only, for example, for this dashboard only 50 are relevant. So you select those 50, and then user will be able to select from those 50 as well. So that is called as member option. Condition option is basically like greater than, smaller than, or between. So those things you can do using the condition option. Then coming to the date fields, within the date field, you will have either a member option or the range option. So member option basically, as I said at the first point, apart from this, you'll also have a hierarchy as well. So because there's a date, you will also get a date hierarchy starting with year, quarter, month, or multiple hierarchies are there. If you want to skip the quarter, then you also have an hierarchy called year and month only. Then year, month, date, year, quarter, month, date. So multiple hierarchies will be available. You can select the specific hierarchy based on your needs. So that user will be able to select entire year, entire quarter, entire month, whatever, or multiple months as per the need. Range is basically needed when you want to allow user to select a time span like a start date, end date, or from this month to that month. So for those cases, the range are very important. And whenever you go with a range, within the date range, there are two options: either you go with a dynamic or a fixed date range. So when you go with a fixed date range, it will be fixed. Like by default, you, if the data set is small, you can make it fixed as from start till end by default. So it will cover all the dates, and then user will be able to select only particular time frame. Okay. Otherwise, if you go with the dynamic, then within dynamic you need to select the reference date. By default it will be a system date. Otherwise, you can also create a custom date. So system date means if I'm executing it today, it will take today's date as a reference, and whatever dynamic offset you will give, it will say, for example, if I give -3 as an offset, then at a month granularity, then it will take from system date, that is today's date, to last 3 months. So it will show last 3 months of the data if the granularity is month level. If I go at the day level, then on a specific date of that month. Okay. So that is why these dynamic filters are also very important whenever you do certain calculations like YTD, MTD, you can do using this dynamic date ranges. Then you have the time filter. These are the story filters, where if within a story, if you want to put the current month or the previous month or next month as default filter, or previous, or a combination of previous and current and next. So these five options are available at the story level. You can select a particular date field, and then you can select either of these five options, and it will work. For example, if I have a calendar day or a calendar month as one of my dimension, I will select that calendar month, and then I will select the current. So whenever I will run the report, by default it will pick the current month. Okay. And then we have the hierarchy. As I said, many of your dimensions will be hierarchy based. So while selecting the filters, you can either go with the flat representation, or you can also select the hierarchy. So if you want to allow users to select a hierarchical format, and so that they can select the node if required, then you can go with hierarchy level filter. Coming to the filters and control options, the other filter and control options, those are available, and these options need scripting for to perform a particular action. So these are checkbox groups. Checkbox groups is basically you'll have multiple checkboxes like this. You can build a checkbox like this in the page, and each checkbox you can put a value, and user will select the checkbox. After selecting the checkbox, a particular script will run. So this can be anything, like you can put this checkbox as a value of a dimension. For example, there are 10 company codes, then these checkbox will take the data from that dimension, and it will give 10 options to the user, and user will select 4 out of them. After selecting 4, you need to write a script that these selected values you need to pass to a specific chart or a specific page, however you want to restrict the data, because this is a script based. Whatever you want to do, whatever is possible in SSC, you can do using this. So this is basically just an input given by the user. Using this input, whatever action you want to perform, you want to put filter, you want to hide an hide widget, or whatever you want to do, you can do it. Similarly is the case with the drop down. So drop down also, that is why it is called as control as well, not only filter. So you can do the filtering, but as well as you can control your widgets like hiding, unhiding, or perform any action. So drop down is also similar, like you will have an option of the drop down. User will select a particular value from that. After selecting that value, whatever action you want to perform, whether you want to use that value as a filter at a dimension filter level on a specific chart, you can do that, or you can perform any other action. Filter line is basically used when you want to give certain filter options to the business user, but you also allow users to add their own filters, dimension filters at the view mode. So then you can use the filter line option. Coming to the list box, also like provide the option either to use it as a filter or as a control. So all these are like a script based. So when it comes to scripting, you can either use it as a filter, but for filter also you need to write a script that if I select this, if user selects this, this script should run, and in that script, that filter will be passed to a particular widget or multiple widgets or a page level, whatever you want to do. Or whenever users select a particular value, a certain action will happen. So as per the script, something will get hidden, something will come up, or whatever you want to put as a part of a script. So those are the list boxes. Radio button similar to the checkbox, but only one selection at a time. So again, using a radio button, one particular button can be used as a filter, or it can be used to perform a particular action using the script. Range slider is giving you the starting point and the ending point. So this is a range slider. So let's suppose this is a line. Sorry for the spike. So this is a line. So this is a range slider. So you can decrease this range here or increase this. This is the starting point, and again you can increase or decrease this as well. So this is the ending point. That means you are giving a range using a slider. So two buttons will be there. So you can increase and decrease, but two button, and you can increase or decrease from button as well. So from and to value will be there, and based on that from and to value, maybe you'll have some calculations within story. So that will happen. So if you give this range, what will happen? So for example, if it is a date, then you'll give a start date and end date, and then you'll get the value respectively. Then you also have a slider is similar to the range, but here you will get only one. So this is the starting point of the slider, but you only have one pointer here. Either you move it towards right, or you move it towards sorry, either you move it towards left or right. Either you increase or decrease it. So based on this value, a particular, for example, the slider can be used if there is a sales report, and currently we are expecting 10% discount. So based on the 10% discount, we are calculating our profit margin and all. Now to get all those measures dynamic, we make that discount as a slider. So by default it is 10%, but maybe I can increase and decrease, and I can analyze whether by increasing the discount by 5%, what will be the impact on my revenue. So this is just one example. You can use it other ways around as well. Then comes the switch is simple. Like you can put it by default on or off. You can perform certain actions, like when the switch is on and I click on something, something will happen. When the switch is off, then when I click on something, something else will happen. So switch can be used like a boolean, yes or no. So if switch is on, do this. If switch is not on, do that. Simple. Coming to the best practices related to filters and conditions. So basically, don't overload with the filters. So many of the times you'll have a very big data set. So it is not recommended to have too many filters at the story level, page level, or even at the widget level. So be very precise to your data. If a lot of filters are needed at a widget level, you are putting filter as a restriction. Don't do that. Instead, create a restricted measure and do those restrictions. So always go with the best practices. And also, like, select only required filters to build a clean story, like most relevant to the story. So you put those filters only at the story level or page level or widget level. And then you can also provide certain options to the business users if they need a particular filter to be added by their own during the view time. Use page filters for the context. So as I said, whenever there is a context, you can use the page filter instead of the story filter. Always add default selection. So whenever you are dealing with a huge volume of the data, it is always the case that whenever the story will load, if you will not put any default filter, then it will load all those 5 years of the data. And imagine the data volume of any finance or sales related report, or supply chain related report. It will have too many records. So it will slow down your performance of the dashboard. So always go with, like, if it's a monthly report, then select a specific previous month or current month by default, and then allow users to select based on their needs. And then use meaningful labels. Meaningful labels means don't use any technical name kind of thing. Always use a label. Those are easier to understand by the business users. Like for example, use region or use company code or entity. So whatever is more suitable for their business terms. Group filters logically. So whenever you are having like multiple filters within your story, always group them in a way that those related filters are together. Starting, I would say that start with the most important filters, and then go with from um, top to bottom or left to right. You can go with most important to less important ones. For example, you start, if it's a monthly report, start with month and year first, then maybe company code, department, and then cost center, profit center, GL account, and so on. so based on your needs. So always so group together. And for example, if you have one filter for year, one filter for one dimension for month, and if you put year and then company code and then month, it doesn't look good, right? So because business user will always select year and the respective month, so those should be together. Similarly, there will be many dimensions like related to region. You can say you'll have region, you will have country, you'll have city or state. So if these four filters are required in your story, this should be kept together in a descending order. So that will be the best way to do it. Then combined with linked analysis. That is also the case like whenever you put page level filter, sometimes those dimensions are already used in some widget. For example, if I'm building one page and it has six charts, so each six chart shows the breakdown of a particular measure by a different dimensions. So that dimension is already there. So if I enable the linked analysis and the user will click on the dimension, filter will automatically get applied. So I don't need to add those six or five dimension filters at the page level in that case. So that is why wherever possible, we can use the linked analysis instead of adding it as a page filter. Test the performance impact. So too many filters will slow down your dashboard, and optimize your dashboard wherever it is needed. So these are some best practices while dealing with filters and controls in SAP Analytics Cloud Stories. Now it's time to move to the demo session. So now we are in SAP Analytics Cloud, and I have created one very simple sample model. So here I have a sales data, and I have the cost, respective profit, the revenue, the selling price of each unit, and the quantities sold. And then I have some commonly used dimensions like the order date, the order ID, and the year, respective year or the respective order date. Then we have the region. So region I have just maintained a dimension table. So here you can see if I click on it, it has a dimension table because I wanted one hierarchy relevant field to showcase how the hierarchy filters works. So here you just have a three level based hierarchy, the city, the respective region, and the respective country. And then we have some product ID, month, and the sales channel. Okay, so this is very simple data. I'll attach the data set in the description. You can use the same data set if required. And based on this model, I have created one story. So this is my sample story I have created. So here you can see we have the overall profit loss, and the net revenue, the cost, and the revenue by country. Then we have by product, what is my overall cost, revenue, and profit percentage. I'm also looking at my profit by distribution channel and also by month. So this is not exactly by month, but we can say by daily. So by day, you can say. So this is by day. Okay, because I have a small data set, maybe you can create multiple months data sets and then you can deal with the month. But because our focus is mostly out, to check like how we can use filters and controls. So to start with, I'll start with story filter. So story filter is something which is applied to all the pages. So how you can add a story filter, here you see at the top there is a one filter icon, filter panel. When you click on it, the filter panel will appear over here. You can also click on this pin to top if you want the filter to appear at the top instead of the left side. Okay, so then you can click on the plus button and it will allow you. So if you have multiple dimensions, multiple models, then you can select the model from here. So here you can see I have only one model. So if you have multiple models, you can switch the model based on which you want to put the filter. And then based on the measure or dimension you want to put the filter, that you can put. So in this case, if I go with dimension, so these are the dimensions available in my model. So for example, if I go with order date, so this is the date field, right? So here you will get a lot of other features. Because this is an import model. In live model, you will not get these dimensions. So you will simply get the date because the behavior of the live model is different from the import model. So in the import model, you get order date, and when you click on it, if you want to go with any of these, you can select the respective attributes. Otherwise, you just click on it. Then, as I said, you can either filter it by member or you can filter it by range. So when you filter it by member, you will get all the member list here. Okay, like this. So by default, you can see system has selected the hierarchy. It is year, quarter, month, and date. Because our data is at date level, so it is at till date. But you can choose like which type of hierarchy you want to select for the date. You can go with any of the hierarchy. So all are coming as date because your field is at the date level, so that is why it is day. If your field, the respective dimension is at month level, then it will come till month, like year, month, year, quarter, month, and so on. So this is at date level, that is why it is coming at the date level. Or in case you want a flat representation, you can go to the flat representation, then you will get all the data points. So whatever dates are available, you will get over here. Now here very interesting thing is, like in the settings, currently you see that book time interval. Book means whatever data is available for the date is coming by default. But sometimes you also need all the data. Okay, so then you can select all time intervals. So then it will start based on your model setting, like what is the start and end date. So if it is starting from 2025 till the very end, then it will. So easy way to see this is like you can go year, month, and quarter, and here you can see you are getting blank values as well, because this is part of your master data, and then 2025. So 2025 we are getting all the months, although we have data only for January. Okay, so that depends on your month date field. So if I go to the order date here, okay, and I go to the respective table of the date, you see the date maintained here is 2025 to 2025. That is why only 2025 is coming. But if you maintain a range from 2020 to like 10 years, 15 years, then all those data will come over here. So that's the master data. But if you want only the book members, then you can select only book. So how you will decide, because whenever user will execute the report, it depends on the nature, like whether you want to allow them to see all the values that is available for a particular dimension, and then select even though there is no data for that month for that particular filter. If you want the user to see them, because user may come, okay, I have selected this month, why I'm not able to put this filter. Okay, so based on the requirement you can select. Most of the cases we will go with booked one, because unnecessarily there will be many data points for which there is no data. Okay, so most of the time we will go with the booked one. So in this case I will show you all interval, and if I select all like this, and I just unselect this hash value which is not needed, click OK. So the filter is added at the top here. Okay, now you see how the filter appears. It comes like, if you don't want this double all, okay, so you can unselect this. So because this is already hierarchy, we don't need all two times. Okay, so then you can user will be able to select the hierarchy like this. So for example, within January, if I unselect everything and I only select January 1st data, January 2nd data, and apply. Okay, so the entire page is filtered by January 1st and January 2nd. Even if I go to page 2, it is also filtered by the same January 1st and January 2nd. So only January 2nd data is available, so it is coming as January 2nd, because there is no data for January 1st. Okay, so this is how, like if you have several pages, whenever you apply any story filter, it will be applied to all the pages. Okay, so that is the first definition of a story filter. So this is the date field. Apart from this, the same way, if I just remove this, and I'll show you, instead of going with a member option, I can go with range. So within the range you have two options, dynamic and fixed. So if I want to go with the dynamic, and I select system date by default, and I need to go by day level. Okay, and every time I by default I want to see previous 7 days of the data. Okay, that means it is showing, you see, previous 7 days of the data, and I click OK. Okay, so you see today's system date is 27th of 2026, 27th May, and it has taken like 7 days back of the data. Okay. So because this entire data is of 2025, I am not able to get any data in any of the page. So what I will do is, in this case, I can also create a custom date. So this is not a system date, but whatever date I will define. So I will name it as, for example, date, and interval is 1. Okay, everything is okay. So granularity you can select. In my case, it is at date level. In your case, it can be at month level or year level. I'll select OK. Whatever default date you want to put. Okay. For example, I'll go with 2025. Okay, and I'll go with January 2025. 1st January. Okay. Okay. And set. Okay, still no data because it is checking previous 7 days. Now you have an option to look ahead as well. So I will also go previous 7 days and 7 days forward with compared to January 5. So it will total 70 days, 14 days of the data will come. So now you will be able to see the data. So this is how the range works. So in case you want to put dynamic, but for dynamic, this date is very important. Okay. So whenever you put this date, how it behaves differently. So let me show you in a view mode. So let me save this story, and I'll open the story in view mode. So I will, yeah, so whenever you create any date field, this reference date is added automatically over here because now we are not dealing with system date. We are using a reference date. So I'll go to the view mode, and I'll show you how it will allow to dynamically select different dates, because when you go with the system date, then you cannot go into the past. It will always take the system date as the reference, and then the respective restriction will be done. But in case you want more flexibility on the date, then you need to go with a custom date. So for example, now instead of going with January, let's suppose I will go with 1st January. Instead of 1st January, I'll go with 15th January. So when I go with 15th January, my reference date has changed to 15th January now. Okay. So now it is taking from 8th January to 22nd January based on the input that I have given over here. If I want to change this input to, like, I don't want to go only past 7 days, but I don't want to look ahead, so I will make it 0. So that means from 8th to 15th, that is second week of January. So accordingly, you can restrict the data, and this data is restricted throughout the pages. So you will have multiple pages because this is a story filter. This restriction is applied to all the pages. You can see it is starting from 8th January, 9th January, and so on. Okay. So this is how you can create a date filter. Another way is, I'll go back to the edit mode. So here I will just remove these two. I hope this is clear. Now in the range itself, I will show you one more option. You need to go to the order date, and within the range you also have a fixed option. So within the fixed option, you can select the granularity. Our granularity is day, and here you can put, like, by default you can put anything. Okay, you can put anything, any range, and then you can click OK. So the range is selected by default. Now user will be able to change this range. Okay, so if I save this, refresh this, so here you can see you are able to select the respective dates and the respective range. So this option is quite fixed one. Here you are not getting any reference date, so you can select only the dates that is being given from and to. Okay, so here I have given only 1 month of the data, but you can select based on your data set. So if I go to edit filter, so if you go by month, so basically I was looking for a feature where start and end is there. So if you go by date, it only allows you to select based on the date that is available. But if you go by month, most of the cases will have monthly reporting. So then you also have an option to start and end. So that means start and end will take the entire data and then you can select it. So that means when you go with start and end as a default, then everything is included. So if I save it, now we are again in the view mode. So now if you see by default, start and end. And then you get an option. If you unselect this, you can select any year. So this gives you very easy way to select the respective field. So like you can go and select any date, any month, okay, and 26 May. Sorry, this is 2029. My bad. So I need to go to 2025 January. So entire data is selected now. So this is how easily you can put filters on the date level. Another last way is like I'll remove this one. So there is provide these are the pre-defined time filters that is provided by SAP. So you can go with current one and then you can select the respective date. So if you want to go to current full interval date or to date, you can select from here. So if you go with full interval, then you need to select the granularity. So for example, I always want to go with the current month. So I will select month. Okay. So you can see because now it is May 2026, it always selects May 2026. And then you get an option to either go back and see forward. So these options will come in your view mode. But your reference date will always be current date by default. Similarly, I'll remove this. You can also select previous one. So if I go with previous option, full interval. So if you select year, then it will select, if today is 2026, it will select 2025. So I'm going with month, which is most of the case. So I am in May 2026, so it is selecting April 2026. Now again, in the similar way, you can user can put the look back and the look ahead offset to select more months to see more data. Okay. So this is about current and previous. Similar is the case with next as well. So it is just like I am in May 2026. So it will select by default June 2026, and then you user can set the offset. Okay, so I will not show that. It is the similar thing. I will just show that previous and current how it works. So you can go previous and current, go with the month. So previous was April and the current is May. So by default it is selecting April and May. So if I select, so by default this offset will be 1 because we are selecting previous and current. Similarly, if you select previous and next, then what will happen? This will be 0 and this will be 1. That's the only difference. So these are the 5 filters, but I would say that this is not very much flexible because many of the times we need more flexibility or user driven filter options. So this will work for a couple of cases or some of the cases, but not always, because many of the times we need more flexibility in terms of like how we want to select it, whether it will be multiple periods, multiple years. So that flexibility is not there as of now. So if you are doing live reporting and you are defining these filters or predefined filters in the backend, then it works fine, but in the front end not much flexibility. So I would like to see like these filters can be controlled using a script. So hopefully we'll get that feature soon so that we can write it down. Okay. Then I will show you one more option with any other field. For example, we have a sales channel. So if you go, so here you get two other conditions. So for the date field, you are getting member and range. For other normal dimensions, text dimensions, you are getting member or condition. If you go by member, it is the same as you are getting for the date. So if you have hierarchy, hierarchy option will come here because this field doesn't have any hierarchy. It is only showing you all members. So you can select. Now again, I'll show you the same options are here. Available member. That means either you want to go with the book member. Book member means whatever data is available in the model for these. Okay, so then only all members mean in the master data or the metadata, the data is there. In the master data, the data is there, but maybe it's not posted for a particular month or so. So you can select based on your requirement. And then because this doesn't have description, it is only id specific field, you are getting an id. But in some cases we have dimension id as well as dimension text or description. Then you get an option like either you want to show the description or id to the user for selection. Dynamic selection, by default it will be selected as dynamic. And most of the cases you will be using dynamic because maybe currently you are having only three distribution channel. Maybe in future a fourth distribution channel is added. So if you select a static, then that fourth distribution channel will automatically get excluded because any change in the data, book data or the available data will not be selected unless it was selected while the development. So that is why we select a dynamic selection. That means if any new values comes to this dimension, it will automatically get added because we are using all members. All means everything. So any new comes, it is included. But if you go with the static one, okay, if you go with the static one, the current selection will be cleared. Okay, so if you go with static one, that means if you go with static one, these three are static. Even I selected all, but these three are static. That means if any fourth, fifth, or new values come, it will not get added over here. So that is why every most of the time we'll go with the dynamic one. And based on the requirement, if any new data comes, I don't want to expose that data for my reporting, then I'll go with static one for the security reason. Then in the input control configuration, you have option to exclude member. So for example, you don't want you want to exclude any member, then you can select. But here you can see the option from now on. You can exclude member by selecting all member checkbox and then deselecting. So this feature was previously there, but now it is changed. So initially, like if you want to include everything and exclude only one member, you just select this and click on this exclude button. So distributor will be excluded and the rest will be selected. But now SAP is saying select everything and then unselect the member that you want to exclude. So this is how the new feature works. Now the other option is allow viewers to modify the selection. So whatever filter you are giving, so let's suppose there are three values. So if you unselect this value, then viewer will not able to select only one or all the options or select from it. So most of the time we will allow viewers to modify the selection. Now we will not allow this option because if we are adding any filter, if we allow this viewer to delete this filter, they will delete it. So there is no point of allowing viewers to delete the filter. Okay, so whatever filter we are adding by default, it should be there. So this is not needed most of the cases. And then you have the selection option, like if you want to go with a multiple option or single option. If you go with a single option, it will be a radio button. So for example, first I go with the multiple option, click OK, and then here you see there is an option coming. You have the checkbox. So if I just unselect online and click on apply, the data is changed for all the pages. Then I'll go to edit. Okay, and I'll go here, instead of multiple I'll go with single. If then I'll get a radio button over here. So here you see the radio button is coming. So all option is available, then everything will be displayed. Only distributor, only online, or only retail, then I can select. So based on your need, if your filter value is such that you want to show for a particular filter only, then you can go with the radio button. Okay, if your design is like that. So this is how it works. And if you don't want to allow all option, you can unselect from here, so that every time they will be able to select only one, not multiple. Okay, so this is how a story filter can be added. And I'll also need to show you the condition one. So now I will go to, I'll select, for example, a region, and I'll go to filter by condition. So in filter by condition, you'll get an option like whether what you want to include, and at the same time you also get a restriction. So sometimes we need a particular condition, but we want to exclude something with which is matching with the condition, but that is not needed. So either you go with only condition, or you can go with a combination of condition with restriction. So we will see just simple example. Let's suppose we go with begins with. So these are the options available. Like if you have any value or dimension value which is greater than something, then you can put greater than equal to, less than equal to, less than, between, or you can also use the text match. So these are the comparisons. Then you have the text match, like contains, or it is begins with, the text to begin with or ends with, or wildcard. So you can use also use a pattern if some pattern is required. So in this simple example, I'll show you the option with begin with. So begin with. So let's suppose what all region or the city is name are starting with A. They click OK. So the data is restricted but begins with A. Let's go to the detailed option. Okay. So in the detailed option, we can see there are three cities, which is Ajman, Abu Dhabi, and Al Ain. So these three cities are there in my data set, which starts with A. So if we put a further restriction, for example, we go to edit filter and we add a restriction, and this is the exclude. So you can't include, this is a restriction. So we want to exclude the names which is starting with A but ending with I. So if I do this, you can see the name is Abu Dhabi. So this will be excluded. Okay. So now Abu Dhabi is excluded. You only see Ajman and Alain. So this is how you can select a combination of a condition and a restriction at the same time, or you can only go with the condition if you don't have any special case to be excluded. So this is how you can use a condition filter. The last but not the least is the advanced filter option. So in the advanced filter option, here you see the advanced filter option is available. When you click on the advanced filter option, you need to name it, like, because you will be using a combination of it, you need to give a logical name to it. What is the filter name? So I will just give as a test. You can name it according to your needs, or whatever filter you are putting, like you are excluding something from business term, you can give the business term. Now here we can put that filter. For example, by default it is OR operation. So there are four options: and included, or included, and excluded, or excluded. So if I go with OR option, and let's suppose if I go with dimension uh, region ID, where I go with flat representation. So either region is these three. Okay. So this is my condition one, where region is equal to these three, or I'll go with region one, or you can go with other one as well. For example, if I go on sales channel, but because I have all combination of the data, it doesn't make any changes, because I'll get all the data. But in your case, it will this the normal OR operator, like either this condition is satisfied or this condition is satisfied. So your data set, all the online records it will show, and it will show all the records of these three cities irrespective whether those are online or not. Okay, so because this is an OR operator. But if you go with AND operator, so let's see first with the OR operator, and I'll go with only, for example, let me go with only two cities, Abu Dhabi and Ajman. Click OK and set it. Okay, so this is my detailed option. You can see, because this is OR operation, so either this sales channel is online, or if this is not online, then your region would be Ajman or Abu Dhabi. So here both conditions are matching, but here this is not online, but because the region is Abu Dhabi, it is still, the data is still coming. So this is not the region that we have selected, but because this is online, so that means OR operator is working fine. Similarly, we can change it. Instead of OR operator, if we select and include option and click OK, then it will always be online and Ajman or Abu Dhabi. Online, so all online, and Ajman and Abu Dhabi only. So this is how the AND operator will work. So accordingly, I have shown you only two examples. You can add more as well. When you want to exclude it, you can go with AND exclusion. When you go AND exclusion, both these values will be excluded. So wherever there is a data for online, this should be online and this should be either Abu Dhabi or Ajman, then that data will be excluded because that is AND condition. When both the field will match based on this, that will be excluded. But here, because only one is matching, it is not getting excluded. But if I go with OR option or exclude, then all the online as well as Abu Dhabi and Ajman will be excluded. So you will not see any online over here, no Abu Dhabi, no Ajman. Okay. So these are the four conditions you need to play with, and you can add as much as logic you want. So like here you can add further and logic. So just like you can have a complex include exclude as well. So within OR you have further and further branches. It can be like any combination of it. It can become more complex, but this is like when sometimes you want for data restriction or something, you want to exclude something or need to select only specific data, then you can. Okay, I'll cancel this. Hope this is clear. So this is all about the story filter, which is applicable to all the pages within a particular story. Now we'll discuss about page filter. So for page filter, you need to go to insert menu and click on the input control. So the options that you get in the page filter is exactly the same as you get while configuring story filter. The only difference is whatever selection that we will put, it will be applicable to the page, not to the entire story. So here you can see, you can select the respective model, the dimensions, the measures, the time filters, and the advanced filtering option. So all options are exactly the same, and it works exactly the same way the story filter works. The only thing is it is applied to a specific page, not to all the pages. Now we will try to select one of the dimension. So for example, we'll go with sales channel, then we'll select all the options. So here you can see we have the option. Now if we apply only a particular channel, you can see the entire page is filtered by online channel only. But if we go to another page, we can still see the distributor or retail channels are available. That means this filter is only working at the page level and not to the other pages. So this is the difference, and there are two important things that we need to know about this page filter is how the linked analysis is working and how the cascading effect works. So let's add one more filter, and this time maybe we can select
region, and we'll select the respective regions. So instead of going with the hierarchy, we'll go with the flat representation, and we will just drag and place it to the specific location in the layout. So now we have two page filters added, and whatever filter we will apply to these filter options, it will be applicable to all the widgets in this page. So how we can control that? So if suppose we want a particular thing to be affected only on a particular widget or a group of widgets and not all the pages, so then we need to use a linked analysis. So similarly, we also have an option for a cascading effect. So what is cascading effect? For example, if we select Delhi in a region, now let's suppose Delhi doesn't do any business through distributor channel or retail channel. So if we select Delhi and cascading effect is on, then this distributor and retail will be inactive. It will not show in the this list. But because I have a data set which has all possible combinations, I'm not able to show you currently. But you just think of like Delhi does business only online, and it doesn't do any business on using a distributor or the retail channel. So then what will happen whenever I will select Delhi, then I will try to put another filter on sales channel. It will only show me online because Delhi is already selected. That means data is already restricted by Delhi. So my another filter is cascaded by the previous filter, which is done on another dimension. So if Delhi doesn't do business in distributor or retail, so that will not appear here because cascading is ticked on. But in case like even if Delhi doesn't do business in distributor or retail, but still you want to show this, then you need to turn it off, this cascading effect. So then even Delhi doesn't do business using a distributor or retail channel, it will show. So by default, cascading effect will be on, and it will be applied to all the input controls on a particular page. But you can select the behavior of the cascading effect going to the settings. Here you can see there is a cascading effect. By default, it says that all input controls on the page. But you can also select only on selected input control. So you just select on selected input control and then select the respective input control. But because we only have two input controls, it will show you the other input control which you want to include in the cascading effect. Okay, so you can click on select. So this input control is added. Now there is a checkbox button which says that automatically connect newly created input control. That means, let's suppose currently we have two input controls, but while development, we will add another input control. Okay, so let's add another input control. So when we add another input control, it will automatically become the cascading effect will be automatically on for this newly added input control if you checkbox that option. But if you don't select that checkbox, then whatever new input control you will select, it will not be part of the cascading cascading input control. So now I have added a new input control. So I will show you if I go again to the sales channel and I will see the cascading effect. Here you see input control 3 is automatically got added because we have ticked this option automatically connect newly. So if we create another input control 4, 5, 6, whatever we will create, it will automatically get added here in case we check this option. But if we do not select this setting, then it will be static. So whatever we select at one time, it will be added. And in case we want to include any other input control in the cascading, we need to come here and select it manually. So that's the use case of input cascading effect in input control. This is basically used to ease the filtering option for the business users. So for example, if we are only filtering a particular month and that month doesn't have any data for a particular product, so that product should not appear in the product filter, right? So that is called as cascading effect. But in case you want to show all the filters based on the master data or the book data, irrespective of what other filters or restrictions you have put, then you can turn it off. Okay. Now I will show you. I will just redo this cascading effect on, and I will show you another option, which is linked analysis. So for linked analysis, you need to click on the linked analysis. You need to go to the setting. And again, you see by default, all widgets on this page are filter are applied. So that means when I select sales channel as online, all these charts, you can see numeric charts, you can see bar chart, line chart. So all these charts, whatever chart you have on this page, all are being filtered by that. But there is a similar option, like I, instead of applying to all the charts, let's suppose I want to apply to only one chart, which is byproduct. You can see. So that is chart number 14. So I selected it. But if I place this at the top, then user will think that it is applied to all the pages. So placement is also very important, like in the layout where you place your filter. And this automatically connect newly created widget is similar. Like if you create a new chart, and if this tick box, if this check mark is on, then that newly created chart will be part of this filter. Okay, so usually we will not select it, because whenever we add any new chart, we need to ensure whether that is part of this filter or not. So now you can see I have added, now it is only whatever selection I am changing, it is only applicable to one chart, which is chart number 14. But if I place at the top, user will think that two of the filters are working fine, but if I select channel, the profit and loss and other charts are not changing. That means something is wrong, because the placement of the filter is such that he will think that this filter is applicable for all the widgets. So it is also very important that you place the input control at very specific location, or create a layout in such a way that the group of widgets which are getting affected by a particular input control should be put together using some borders, some groupings. Okay. And also, like if we are applying here a short list of filter, we do not need this apply selection and all option. So then we can remove it by going into show and hide. We can remove the inactives, we can remove the apply button, and now we have these filters. So now user can easily select the respective sales channel, and it is only applicable to this chart. So now it looks very easy to understand by user as well. Like when I will put a filter on this, it is only going to affect this chart and not the other charts. And whenever we have any chart at the top level, it is going to be applied to all the widgets on this page. So these are the three types actually. Now we have applied the filter only to a particular widget. That means that is what we have discussed. Story filter, which is applied to entire story, all the pages. Page filter, which is applied to only a particular page using an input control. And then using an input control, you can change the interaction to only one widget, that is called as widget level filter. So now you can also apply the widget filter by going to the builder panel and selecting the respective dimension, and you can select the members or the range or the condition. So the filter works similarly. The rest of the options are similar to the one that we have just shown during the story filter and the page filter. Only thing is, like, you can go to the builder panel and you can apply the filter here. So we have discussed about the story filter, page filter, and the widget filter, and I think it's a quite lengthy session, so I will have another part of it where we will discuss about the remaining filters and control option and how we can enable that. So for that we are going to cover so within the tool option, sorry, not in the tool option, in the insert option, you will get filters and controls option, And in filters and controls, you will see that there is a checkbox group, drop down, filter line, list boxes, radio button groups, range sliders, and switches. So that's all for today's session. Hope you like the content. If yes, do subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. Please share the videos and contents with your friends and colleagues if they are from the similar background. I will be covering the remaining parts very soon. Till then, stay tuned. Have a nice day. Bye bye.